Hello, my beautiful Piscean friends. It is, as always, such an honor and a privilege to get to sit with your energy, explore it with you. And April is such a dynamic and powerful month. Really, really big themes around healing, integration, compassion, as well as being bold in being really true to our hearts and true to what is calling to us. I think also an important theme this month is about simplifying and really getting back to the core basics of what it is that lights us up and not trying to be everything to everyone all the time, right? For me, when I look at what's going on this month, first of all, of course, we're in Aries season at the beginning of the month. A lot of energy in the second house, Sun and Mercury moving through there. We're exploring this energy together. And for you, this is going to be about your worth, the way you feel grounded in the world. Do you feel worthy of your well-being, of your presence in this life? And are there ways that you can deepen that and strengthen that? In fact, the question that came up for me when I thought about Aries season for Pisces is, what does well-being look and feel like for you? Because that's such a blanket umbrella term, well-being, right? Like it's something that's used in like spiritual fairs where you go and somebody's like, we're going to have a well-being workshop. What does that mean? I think each of us is going to have our own unique definition of well-being, whether that's a certain amount of sleep, a certain amount of social time or alone time, a certain amount of, peaceful feelings or thoughts, or a certain amount of excitement. I mean, we're all going to have our own unique map of that. So I think this month is going to be really great for you to just get really specific about how you define your own sense of well-being and to honor it and to commit to living the art that is that creation of the well-being, because it is an art form. It's an art form that is very subtle. It takes a lot of practice. And no, it isn't going to always, stun the world and be broadcast around and be on like Hollywood films, but it is something that has profound effects on the world we live in. This month is also cool, and I'm very excited about this because Mars and Venus are both going to be moving through your sign and through Pisces, and this is just so good for the world in general. It brings an emphasis on compassion and creativity and poetry and dreaming and all of the really beautiful energies that I think are so important for Pisces or for the world, and part of what I love about Piscean energy so much. And for you all, this is really, really wonderful for finding balance, finding harmony, deepening relationships. It's such a beautiful artistic thing to have both Venus and Mars moving through your sign. So leaning into that, and I think that's why well-being is going to be such a big theme for you all this Aries season, because you still have Jupiter in your sign, Neptune in your sign, Mars and Venus. This is a beautiful time for Piscean energy to actually be lighting up the world and for all of us to be working with it. And of course, you in your own innate energy signature to be getting to High Priestess, to explore the artistry that is being Piscean in the world. So yes, that's going to be a huge theme for you. The moons this month are really interesting as well. We have a full moon in Libra on the 16th, and that's going to be 8th house transformational energy for you all. So it will be a great time to take a deep breath and release any tensions that may have come up over the last couple of years or the last few months, whatever it is for you. And then we get into eclipse season as we move into Taurus season. Taurus energy is going to be so great for you all. It's sextiles with Piscean energy. 9 of Swords. That energy is coming up a lot in April, and we will talk about it in a moment. Taurus season is going to be wonderful for you because this is about you expressing yourself, having better communication, being able to connect with others, being able to express what you need and want, being able to express your creative visions more easily. The first eclipse of eclipse season happens on the 30th, a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, which is going to be about new creative, communicative visions for you. 5 of Pentacles. Ooh, interesting. Okay. And like I said, this April is so fascinating to me because the readings they keep going to these really deep healing places for all the signs. And they're just taking us on a journey. And 10 of Wands. Okay. Okay, Pisces. Okay, Pisces. If you have some weight that you are carrying, weight on your shoulders, some worries, some thoughts, some grief, we're gonna talk about that today because it's showing up here. I'm going to pull one final card from my Animal Totem Tarot. It's a beautiful deck. I like to bring it into the fold every few months. Anybody who's been around here for a little while, you've probably seen these cards. Ace of Cups. I think that's a flicker. I'm not sure. We will look into that. Ace of Cups. I love it for Pisces. So perfect. Okay. I love that we start with High Priestess and we end with Ace of Cups. And in the middle, we're going to do some work. We're going to do some healing. We're going to do some integrating. We're going to do some releasing, because releasing and healing is just, it is a central theme to April. I mean, it's there. It's not going anywhere, apparently. So let's get into these cards. High Priestess. This always makes me feel like I'm in this beautiful watery temple where I am just held by a hammock of the universe. And High Priestess for me is about a deep self-trust. She often obviously is like an initiator. She wants to initiate you into some deeper wisdom, some esoteric knowledge, some wisdom of the unseen and hidden realms of this life, which is so Piscean. I mean, that's one of the major tenets of Piscean energy. But I think when I see the High Priestess, what I see and what I always feel is self-trust. Trusting that we know what we need. Trusting that we know when we need to rest. Trusting when we know when we need to say no, or when we need to say yes and go for it and be bold, and even if it's scary. And building that self-trust and that being a part of the sacred art of living a meaningful life. I think it's so interesting how culturally self-trust and trusting our intuition and trusting that sense that, ooh, I'm a little tired. Oh, I feel a little funny about that situation. Oh, I'm not ready for that yet. How we've been so taught to not trust it. And how if we're trusting it, then maybe we're being selfish or lazy. And I think that's such an interesting cultural artifact of our times and of the last few hundred years of culture being built on very complex systems. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to focus here on the High Priestess is asking you to trust yourself this month. Trust when you need to rest, to integrate, to listen, and to not feel that you need to judge it or put it in a box or, categorize it in some kind of neat system. And just practice trusting into it more, because there's really, really good information there that is going to lead you to exactly where you need to be. And along with that, let's get into these more complex cards. I don't want you to lose heart or feel like this is going to be a really dark month, because it's not. It's not a dark month at all. In fact, I find this month to be so liberating for so many people, because it's going to be so much about healing and lightening that load that we're carrying. So these cards are all cards that are attached to a sense of worry and worthlessness and insecurity, like scarcity. A lot of times when I see these cards, I think especially 5 of Pentacles and 10 of Wands, these are a lot of times the generational hand-me-downs that are given to us, as soon as we come into our family, into the world. It's not purposely given. It's just that these things build up and are carried through generations and sneak into the way that we approach our lives. So this is big stuff. Like, we're talking macro lens here with the healing. So 9 of Swords is the worrier, right? This is the part of our mind that is going in circles often. It's a part of our emotional brain that it's really there, that's here to protect us by looking out for threats and danger. But unfortunately, it's not very good at understanding that, those obsessive thoughts or, worrying about is that post on Instagram too embarrassing, or is this way of life not allowed, or am I doing too little, or am I doing too much? That's not actually keeping us safe. doesn't know how to differentiate between a wild bear and a vulnerable sharing of art. That's the problem with Nine of Swords. But when Nine of Swords shows up, what we're wanting to do here is honor our scared self and soothe our scared self. I like to just write out what that scared self is saying in that inner warrior, and often when I've written it down, I realize, oh, that's what you're worried about? We got this. So this is about taking care of that part of ourselves. But we also have this Five of Pentacles, Ten of Wands thing going on. To me, this is about work ethic and how we value and judge our worthiness in life. And like I said, this to me is about generational hand-me-downs. A lot of us have, parents, grandparents who went through a lot of scarcity. And because of that, raise their kids, their grandkids, whoever, to be very vigilant about making sure they have a home, making sure they have the resources they need so that they survive. And it can create this sense of valuing always overworking, always being hypervigilant, always looking out for the threats, always being in a state of fight or flight, trying to retain our safety. So when this shows up for me, what I am seeing is if you have any of those presence from past generations, from your family dynamics, from our culture too. This can just be a macro culture thing. This is a time to really examine and look at those things. Look at the storylines that say, I'm a weirdo, I'm a freak, nobody wants to be my friend, the universe doesn't love me, I have to work really, really hard and do it all my own, otherwise nothing's going to get done. This is a really great time to sit with that self-talk, that inner monologue, that inner dialogue that is trying to keep you safe. It's really, really trying to keep you safe, but it's also just sapping our energy. It's sapping our energy. It's sapping our life force. It's using such a beautiful gift, which is our mind, in a way that is feeling exhausting. So this is a really, really great opportunity to take care of this part of ourselves and to witness this part of ourselves, to help it and to show it that things are okay, that we are okay, that we can trust ourselves, that we will always choose the right things. We'll always take the next right step. We will always do our best to be conscientious to others, but we'll also, when something needs to get done and when it's the time to figure out how to get that done, we're going to figure it out. We're going to make wise choices. We're going to know how to take care of ourselves. If we do take that rest because we need to take a sick day, it's not going to throw everything off. We're not going to be thrown into the streets. God and the universe isn't going to shut its doors to us and tell us we're not worthy. This is a wonderful time to do that work. And I know that so many of you probably are already working with this, and it's maybe something that's been repeated 100,000 times by so many people, but I think it's always a place to come back to and practice and notice and work with. I think it's a lifelong practice to heal these wounds that come both from our own life experiences, our own traumas as children or young adults, as well as the traumas that were handed to us by past generations, unknowingly often. So this is deep, like I said, deep healing stuff. And the big thing here is to trust yourself. Now we get to the Ace of Cups. And I want to double check that this is the right bird. I'm always learning from this deck. A kingfisher, not a flicker, a kingfisher. Oh, beautiful. Let me read the inscription for the kingfisher Ace of Cups from this deck. There are many places for you to enter into the river, but this spot here, this is the best point of entry you will find. Here the water is not only calm and inviting, but it offers up everything you could ever wish for. This is why when spring returns to the river of creative potential, I come back to its banks and drink from its overflowing cup. Oh, that's so beautiful. The Ace of Cups is that offering, right? I think also in traditional decks, the whole point is this is a cup that is overflowing, right? And it's that my cup runneth over. This is ancient wisdom. This concept of trusting and filling our own well, really from a deep place of self-trust, of self-respect, of self-awareness, is what allows us to just share the gifts we have. And this whole lie that so much of our culture in the world, in the last few hundred years of the modern world, one of the cultural artifacts really is this lie that in disciplining ourselves, grinding ourselves down, working harder, being everything, watching out is what makes us valuable members of society. It's simply not true. That isn't what gets us up and out to do kind things for others, or to create beautiful art, or to even do something that takes a lot of skill and discipline that's meaningful to us. Those aren't the things that long-term work for us. And so this is a time to rebel against that, I think, Pisces. And use the Piscean wisdom that's always been there, that's been there for this whole adventure in the human world and in the animal world as well. It's always been there. And I think Piscean energy always has access to it at a special level. And you're allowed to just enjoy that. And that's it. And I think some beautiful things are going to come of this month. I think we took a really deep internal dive. It wasn't so much about like what's going to go on in the world and how that's going to work out. But I think that there are great gifts waiting for you this month. But you got to let yourself have them. And just let yourself have them. Please. Please do that for me, if for no other reason. All right, so I would love to see you over on Patreon. That is where I'm diving deep on all of the astrology. We talk every single week. We also do all of our moon activations over there. I'm going to be going deep on eclipse season, as well as the upcoming retrogrades like Pluto and Mercury, and others that will be joining soon. So I'd love to see you there. I would so appreciate it if you would like this video and comment and let me know how you're doing, and subscribe if you're feeling it. It really helps me to keep doing this work and to keep showing up to this table. Yes, it's so helpful. Plus I love having you here. So it's a win-win. You can find me on my Instagram. I'll leave the One True handle below, as well as my website and my email. So if you want to reach out, I'd love to hear from you. I hope you have a beautiful April, my beautiful friends, and trust yourselves. I'll talk to you soon.